If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hi, I'm Kaylee, a college student and pretend journalist who was conceived with donor sperm in 1999. This is Message in a Bottle. Hello again. Welcome to episode 6, which is my conversation with a donor-conceived person named Jonathan. We met through a Facebook group for donor-conceived people, and he was nice enough to come on here to share his story and his thoughts about America's very unregulated donor industry. I had such a great time talking with him. We laughed a lot, but we also touched on some really important topics. But first, quickly, I just want to remind everyone to follow Message in a Bottle wherever you are listening. Follow the Instagram page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, you get it. I've been doing this for about a month, and we're about to hit 1,000 listens, which is so exciting. If you've been enjoying the episodes, I'd love for you to share the show with your friends, your uncle, your rabbi, whatever. And lastly, if you are a sperm donor, an egg donor, someone using donor gametes, or you are donor conceived, email me. I'd love to have you on an episode. Okay, enjoy my conversation with Jonathan.
Hey,
Hi.
how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Here I am.
Here you are.
You can include everything. Put my social security number. I don't care. It's all out there anyway.
Yeah.
So,
So if you
it's one of the things we learn as donor conceived people is that information is out there and it's relatively easy to find if you know what to
very
look
true. Very true.
for. Hi, I'm Jonathan. I was born in 1976, which makes me 45 years old today. I live in St. Louis, Missouri. And I learned that I was donor conceived from a commercial DNA test that I took in 2017.
Hmm.
I learned from a commercial DNA test that I took in 2017 that I was donor conceived.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't have to sound like.
Right. No, you have to keep repeating it over and over again. In 2017, I took the DNA test. I got the results back in early 2018, and I learned that I was donor conceived.
Yes. So did you do 23andMe or was it Ancestry?
It was an ancestry test. The ancestry test was given to me by my mother-in-law as a gift.
Mother-in-law. Yeah.
Mother-in-law as a gift because I was interested in her DNA results that she took with it came back and said that she was 2% Irish. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I've got something in me. It turns out I did, but it wasn't Irish.
Yeah.
I'm,
The random person.
yeah, I'm 50% stranger.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I was expecting to see, some kind of interesting ancestral composition. I'm 100% Ashkenazi Jewish, which was exactly what I thought in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't recognize these close family members that came back.
So a lot of people had taken the test. Like you had a lot of close matches that you were confused by.
I had 5 close matches. 2 of them were my biological grandparents on bio dad's side.
Oh wow.
One was his son, his raised son. I didn't know any of this at the time.
Right. So you're just like,
who are
what is
these
this?
people?
Yeah.
Right? There were a bunch of initials and one person's full name. And then there were 2 other half siblings who had taken the DNA test on Ancestry.
You were raised by a mom and a dad, or
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
they never told you.
I had classic nuclear family, I guess, minus any extra children. I was an only child. And yeah, I was never told. It wasn't early disclosure, it wasn't late disclosure, it was no disclosure.
Mm-hmm. So what happened next?
What happened next? So I immediately wrote these matches. I saw 2 of them were managed by the same account. So I figured those 2 were closely related to each other. And I emailed everyone through the Ancestry system, and I got emails back later that evening. I think I didn't check it until the next morning, or maybe I checked it that evening. I don't remember. It was all a big blur. And two of the results wrote me back and said, yeah, we were donor conceived in the mid 1970s. Was your dad the biological father? Was he the sperm donor? And I heard back from one of the other accounts, the one that managed two accounts, and they said, you don't look familiar at all. We don't know who you are. And then I had a phone conversation the next morning with my mom, and everything blew up.
Right.
And the rest is history.
So you asked your mom, like,
I asked my mom, like, so was dad a sperm donor? And her response was, no.
Then that was all.
That was it. And the crazy thing is that this was on my mom's birthday. Then the day before, when I got the results back and saw that I had close matches, we were pulling in to buy her shoes for her birthday, and my phone said, I got an email from Ancestry that you have matches available. And the matches, I said something at the time about, I don't recognize any of these people. And she said, oh, and that was it. And then she was kind of off for the rest of the evening, like not her normal self, but I didn't think about it at the time. But the next morning when everything blew up, then I realized that she knew exactly what happened and wasn't quite ready to deal with it at that point. So no, my mom said right after that, after I asked, was dad a sperm donor? And she said, no. And then there was silence. And then she said, well, something to the effect of, you're so wanted, you're so loved. We always meant to tell you, but we were struggling with infertility, and the treatment was to use a sperm donor. And that's what we did. And we were never sure whether it was you or whether it was the sperm donor or your dad who was your biological father, and it didn't really matter to us. And that's true. It didn't matter to them. I 100% felt loved and accepted and raised in the family that I was raised in.
Right.
So to that end, it didn't matter at all.
Right. But in other ways, it definitely.
But in other ways, it matters greatly.
So what do you mean she said we didn't know whether it was the donor or your dad?
So they did all sorts of things in the mid 1970s, and I don't know precisely which of these my parents were told to do, but they would often tell couples, we're going to mix the sample. I don't think they mixed the sample between my dad and the donor. I think that did not happen. But they said, go home, make love, you're not going to know. And this kind of treatment sometimes helps the father, not the donor. This helps the father's sperm work better, which is a complete lie.
Oh, if they like inseminate the mom, if they inseminate, parents go have sex.
Yeah.
Oh, which that's just not true. It's just that
it's just
it psychologically convinces you that.
Right. So the doctor is, through various means, and the doctor has never said to my parents, don't disclose. They never once said that. They also never said it's important that you do. They kind of didn't say anything. And they went so far as to do a phenotyping. So they did like a sketch of my dad. They wrote down all these characteristics of him to try to get a close match. I don't think the doctors did anything with that information. They used who was available as a donor at the time. And it's possible my parents, they wanted a Jewish donor. It's possible that the doctor said, oh, we can satisfy that. But it's also possible that that's just who was available.
Right, that it just was a coincidence.
It just coincided. Right.
And it's fresh.
It was all fresh in the 1970s. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a very interesting idea of like potentially like sitting in the waiting room or something, like, or down the hallway.
Right. They may have crossed in the hallway. They may have been on the same elevator. I don't know. I don't know how, and how strange, right, that they would have met. and not known.
That they have a child. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Right. So yeah, so that happened, and I can only assume that, my parents believed enough that it was my dad's sperm that took, but that it didn't matter. And I think it mattered more when I learned about the family medical conditions that exist in my dad's family. A lot of them suffer from dementia.
Hmm.
They have diabetes, they have, various other ailments. And my dad died in 2005.
Oh wow, so he wasn't around when you
He
found
wasn't
out.
he wasn't around to help my mom work through this or to talk to me about it or anything. And I always was concerned, like, okay, am I going to have these medical conditions to worry about?
And then you realized that you
Suddenly my health history is a giant question mark.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So after getting these results back, the DNA results, and after having this conversation with my mom that did not go well, um, within the next 24 hours, the half siblings that I identified, or that identified themselves to me, and I quickly pieced together who the donor was. So they had been on there for a while, and I guess they had not checked recently, or they just hadn't had that level of interest. But
Hmm.
I certainly had a great deal of interest, and I wanted to find this right away.
Yeah.
So we all collaborated, and we found him within 24 hours. And
Wow.
then we found a picture of him.
Uh-huh.
We all did selfies of like a tablet with his face and our face next to it, so we could see the similarities and differences. And that was something.
Yes.
He was a med student at the time that he started donating,
I see.
and he donated and donated and donated for the period of 7 years.
Like
He took,
consistently.
he took 1 year off because he did a fellowship out of state.
Oh wow.
But that's so 6 total years of actual donations, 2 to 3 times a week.
So yeah, that's a lot. A lot
Yeah,
of a lot of sperm.
it's a lot. It's flying everywhere.
Right.
Um, but the donations just, we didn't know at the time how long he had been donating or how frequently or anything. That our next big hurdle was, do we make contact with him? And without any kind of official agreement, we all kind of decided that we each can do whatever we choose to do. We can make contact, we cannot. It's up to us.
Hmm.
And I decided that I wanted to reach out, and it took me a little bit of time, and then I wrote him an email,
Hmm.
and I never heard back. And I was not happy that I didn't hear back, because not hearing back is not a yes and it's not a no.
Hmm.
It's a lack of response. So then I sent him a letter to his home,
Hmm.
and not to his work, but to his home address. And I still never heard anything back. So it wasn't until the half brother who is his raised son, who was on Ancestry, I eventually tracked him down. So that the initial, I'm trying to figure out how long it is. So 6 months after I got the DNA test back,
Hmm.
I finally was able to connect with my half brother, the raised son. And we had a nice phone call. He was an adult. I'm not dealing
Hmm.
with any children here. And he said he would check with his dad and see what his dad said. Was he a sperm donor? And I was very clear when I talked to the half brother, like, my goal is not to ruin anyone's lives. I want to get information, and I think I think as anyone is entitled to information about their biology.
Yeah.
So
Right. It's not like you're trying to interject into somebody's family. But yeah,
no,
again, there's no knowing of how people will interpret what you're trying to do by
right.
contacting.
Right. And we in the donor conceived community often deal with the wife problem as it's a
Hmm.
problem. And that is when a spouse of the donor really feels threatened by the existence of all these donor conceived people and their desire to make contact,
Hmm.
and is worried that it's going to strain their relationship. So I was worried that that was something that I would have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And it couldn't have been farther from the case. So I made plans to meet up with the half brother in February of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And I drove to where they live, and we had a great weekend. We drank and ate our weight in food and drink. So that was really good. And then late that night, we made plans. We were going to have brunch the next morning. And late night, he texts me and says, "Do you mind if my mom and dad come?
Come over to the
Come to
next
brunch.
day.
Come to
Yeah.
brunch." Yeah. And I'd never gotten an email response. I'd never gotten a letter response or anything. So the first contact with the donor was going to be having brunch.
Right.
Like, can it get more awkward,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
And
strange.
challenging. It's like it's just so strange. But that's the life of a donor conceived person. You just never know what's next. The gifts
Mm-hmm.
keep on coming. Um, so I met him, and I met his wife, and they were great, and we had a really nice conversation. And um, I was informed I was the test case for the rest of meeting the rest of the siblings, which is
Oh.
after the fact. So that's good at
Yeah,
least.
that's yeah, it was a lot of
I
pressure.
guess I passed with flying colors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and since and my relationship with my mom has gotten better. We're back to where we were before all of this. Um, and my mom has become good friends with the donor's wife.
That's really funny.
It's it's so bizarre. It's
Yeah.
just it's and like, and not in a bad way. I'm not upset about any of this. I just think it's so strange.
Mm-hmm. It is very funny. Like to see, because my group of people were all sort of still teenagery, early 20s. So we all everybody has moms. That's not what I mean. But like our
Right.
parents are all still sort of involved, so they definitely have like a little group of moms. They all
Yeah.
kind of
It's
get
a different,
along.
it's a totally different era.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you were frozen, right?
Uh-huh.
You were on ice. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny to think about.
Yeah. And so like I think there's a big difference, a giant distinction between parental involvement nowadays, especially since in many cases it can't be hidden, right? You have a lot of single parents, you have a lot of LGBT couples.
Right.
So
So it
um,
has to kind of be explained eventually.
it has to be explained.
Yeah.
It can't be ignored, evaded. And in my generation, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So of my half sibling group, half of them knew at the time they took a DNA test that they were going to find some half siblings.
Mm-hmm.
They knew to expect it. And the other half have been completely shocked.
Yeah. So how many people is that group at this time?
We just got a new one. So now
Oh,
there are,
really?
yeah, like last week. So now there are 16 of us total, myself included.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked when I met up for brunch with Biodad, I asked him, so how many do you think there are going to be given, let's say a 20% success rate? And his eyes bugged out. And he responded, probably upper double digits.
Upper double digits. So like 80s.
80 to 90 of us, yeah.
That's just
And,
like
and this is during the era of fresh, not frozen. Like the big half sibling groups are not uncommon nowadays.
uh-huh.
Despite all of the banks saying, "Oh, we stop at 10 or we stop at
Yeah,
5."
it's bullshit.
It's a fiction, and it's because there's no tracking. They
Mm-hmm.
have no desire to track, and they have no ability to track anyway. So
And even if they do, they don't tell you anything.
they're not gonna give you any information. And in this case, like I tried, one of my first things that I did was, okay, I need to call the university where I was conceived. I need to call some doctors. I need to get some information. There's literally nothing. There are no records. It's not that the records were kept and then lost in a series of small fires, which is a common thing.
Mm-hmm.
There are absolutely no records. It was from so long ago. Record retention just didn't matter.
Yeah.
And in order to preserve anonymity, They never catch
Right.
up.
They're not about to write this person's name all over some papers and
All parties were promised anonymity. And when I was talking to Biodad about that, he's like, I never expected to be found.
uh-huh.
I did this and it was all anonymous, and that's what I always imagined would be the case. And I hadn't even thought of it.
Yeah. It's
And
different than
all
the open ID at 18 or the
yeah,
possibility of open ID at 18,
right,
which is what I was. Yeah.
which I still consider anonymous until 18, but
Uh-huh.
um, I personally don't think that goes far enough, but that's a different discussion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like it really is the gift that keeps on giving. I check, and I admit that this is extreme. I check Ancestry and 23andMe probably 4 to 5 times a day.
Don't you get notifications?
Notifications don't come quickly enough. It's
Oh
like
my God.
2 weeks later you get notified, right?
Oh,
Like,
really? I don't have it. I've never done it, so I don't.
oh yeah. Wait, you've never taken a DNA test?
No.
All right, well, you got to do that.
Yeah,
Anyone
I
who
should. I should.
you should get on both of them. Not because number one, that you're donor conceived, so this is not going to be a shock to you.
Yeah.
But there may be people on there who don't know,
Mm-hmm.
because even though it's more common nowadays that the parents inform their children that they're donor conceived, it is not a given.
Yeah.
And there may be people there waiting and looking to find some information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
no, we have some, like my
okay,
donor himself is on 23andMe, and so are a few of the siblings, and then we have one that's on Ancestry. But yeah, I'd be
okay,
curious just out of curiosity, but I don't
yeah.
know because
I'll stop shaming you now.
no, 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 no. I am curious. I bought two of them, and I was like, I'm gonna take one, but then I ended up giving one to my mom, who is not my biological mom. Because of all this, I'm like, I feel kind of sad because she feels kind of excluded and she has issues with her own family. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe you'll find, maybe you'll find a half sibling. No,
Yeah,
I know. I hope that
maybe
doesn't
maybe
happen.
you'll find some family secrets, right?
Yeah, like to be a part of it.
Those
But yeah.
are their family secrets are always great.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, I check them all the time. I constantly check, and this is, partly whatever psychological issues I have, but I think it's really important that I be the first contact, or someone from our group that is very gentle with it and doesn't come out and say, "Oh, hi, welcome to the family. Your donor
Right.
conceived,"
Right.
because
Scare a person.
it can be jarring if you don't know this is a life-changing event.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Even if you do know, suddenly coming across 15 half siblings or 16 half siblings is a life-changing event.
Yes, definitely. I've known my whole life, and every time that somebody else came into it, I felt very like you feel like everything is thrown off kilter for a day or two. It's just
Yeah,
it's just kind of, it's not like
yeah,
it's creepy, but it's sort of like,
it shuffles everything around.
yeah, yeah. Because we
All of
call it a
the
new sibling, but it's like, actually, no, they've existed this whole time and you just had no idea.
Right. And I don't know how it is for you, but for me, I think it's very difficult to forge and maintain relationships with the 15 other half siblings I have.
Mm-hmm.
It's partly where we are in life. We're all established as professionals. We have families. Some of us, we have lives. Well, some of us do. And because of that, you're coming at a different place than traditional siblings would.
Yes.
So we don't know how to fight with each other.
Yeah.
We don't know how to disagree and then come back together as a group. And it may not be equally important to everybody either.
Yeah, I found that as well.
So we've of the group of us, there are 2 or 3 who really aren't. They don't want to be involved at all. They're
Mm-hmm.
not involved at this point. A couple of those have left the group because of arguments that have happened,
Mm-hmm.
and it hurts. Like, I say something? Did someone else say something? What transpired? This is not a normal sibling relationship.
Yeah. That is an interesting experience of becoming somebody with siblings in your 40s because it's not like you have anything to compare it to.
Right, right. I have
So,
nothing. I see good behavior of siblings with my wife and her brother, so that's good. Like
mhm,
I've got positive models out there,
mhm.
but it still is not my experience. And I also know that there are a lot of siblings who don't talk.
Yeah,
Full siblings who just don't communicate with each other because they're dramatically different people.
yeah,
Um, but again, this is not, none of these things do I have experience with.
right. So it's just about like navigating all of that.
Yeah, and navigating it, and when you get a new one, you send them, here's the spreadsheet to fill out, here's the family photo album,
The
here's
spreadsheet.
the spreadsheet. I
That's
have a
funny.
spreadsheet. I didn't start it, but I certainly have made it worse. And
Made it worse.
yeah,
So
and
what
it
does it
has,
have? Like name, date of birth, like
yeah, it has, the spreadsheet has all the basics. It also, asks questions about height, body type, eye color, what's your handedness, do you like bitter foods, do you like sweet foods, what's your favorite dessert.
that's funny.
I mean, it just goes on and on. It's kind of overwhelming by design.
Right.
um
Because it's like wide and long with all these different
yeah, I mean, every person has their own column,
info.
so 16 columns of information to process. And then at the end we have contact information, so we can get a hold of each other if we need to, or as has been the case, like someone's going to the same city as another half sibling, let's get together, let's
Hmm.
meet up. And then
Yeah.
FOMO for everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. It's like clicks within like a group
Yeah,
of strangers.
yeah, yeah.
It's very
And
interesting.
yeah, it's like, it's people people sometimes ask me, so do you wish that you had never gotten a DNA test? And I don't know how to answer that question.
Hmm.
It's a very, very complicated thing. I think that I'm definitely close to the half siblings. I love having access to BioDad. I love that my mom has this relationship with his wife.
Uh-huh.
There are a lot of positives, but it's also a lot to deal with.
Yes. In a way that it's like you didn't know what you were signing up for, or you didn't
Right.
know what was about to happen. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know, you didn't know what you were missing, and in some ways you wish you could go back and lock that back up in a closet somewhere.
Hmm. Because it was probably easier not to know. But then, yeah.
But then there are all these wonderful people and wonderful relationships that have come out of it.
Hmm.
And so it's a mixed bag.
Definitely. So there could be like a lot more of
Yeah.
your siblings that
I'm convinced there are some that have lived their entire lives and are dead already.
mm,
And I will never know about them. And what's worse is some of them may have children, and I'll have to explain to them at some point when they take a DNA test.
oh, yeah.
Explaining to half nieces and nephews,
Yeah.
that's going to be difficult.
If their parents aren't alive also.
Right, right.
Yeah, because it's still there, it's still relevant to their medical history and
Yeah, and yeah, I definitely feel like I lucked out in terms of medical history.
uh-huh.
The donor that was picked had very good family medical history.
Yeah.
So
So you have
I'm
a friendship or a relationship with him. Like do you talk to him?
yeah, I mean, he's very approachable. He's very reserved.
Mm.
And if he listens to this, hi, how are you? Um, so he's pretty reserved and very, very happy to supply medical information and talk. I was not looking for a father figure. I had a father figure.
Hmm.
So I'm perfectly content with how this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a relationship, but I don't have the vocabulary to describe what it
Yeah,
is.
there almost isn't a way to explain. Like there's no label for
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So we got together, my family, my mom, the donor, his wife, and another half brother and his husband all got together for like a mini trip. And that was like a great weekend.
That's fun.
Again, we drank a lot. This seems to be a trend. Uh, but it was a really nice time and a great chance um, for us to connect again.
Mm-hmm. So did you ever get to ask him about what his mindset was becoming a donor and why it went on for so long? And
we haven't really discussed it, and I think it's sort of something that I don't want to cause him discomfort. I think like it's already a unique, challenging situation,
mm-hmm.
and I certainly don't want to pressure him or make him feel uncomfortable with what he's done. Like this is
Right.
I know that he got paid somewhere between 25 to $40 in 1970s money for
Right. So it is a
donation.
lot of money
For
for
every
every
donation.
time.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So, maybe I don't know, $10,000 a year in today's money.
Yeah. So that's definitely a good enough reason for me. Like I would be like,
Right.
that makes sense.
Right. So I think that was certainly a component of it, was that he was being compensated. And also, I think it's very human if you do something one time and you're told like, wow, you did a great job. Your sperm count is very high. This is desirable. We'd really like to have you as part of the program.
Yeah.
Like,
You being
okay,
inclined to
great.
keep,
And
yeah.
I'm positive that there's an altruistic component to all of this, despite the compensation. I think that he really set out to create families for people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he feels some level of paternal responsibility for all these people he created.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same as like, oh, I need to reach out to everyone and make contact and check in on them. But I think he's concerned. He wants to make sure that people are okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense.
It's
Yeah,
complicated.
definitely complicated.
It's all complicated.
This has been positive for me just because I'm getting to meet other people that have like lesbian parents. Like I hardly know anybody, so that's just been kind of like a randomly, like it's associated, but that's been kind of cool to just like meet people
Yeah, and
in that
the same
whole.
background. Yeah, and I've connected with all sorts of people through the We Are Donor Conceived Facebook group. But and then donor conceived people, because we have such varied experiences, I don't think there are any universal things that apply. So often you'll find a donor conceived person posting their views that don't really jive with the recommendations that many other donor conceived people are making.
Mm-hmm.
So we are, as a group, I think, pushing to end big anonymity, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think some people are okay with anonymous until 18.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them, but I think some people are okay with that. But I think the big one is, okay, anonymity, just saying by default everything is anonymous, is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good for any of the parties over time.
Yeah.
It
Is
sets
there
up
a way to be not anonymous that isn't the same thing as like open donor, as in like your mom's friend? Do you know what I mean?
Say that again.
Not like your mom's friend, like meaning when I think of an open donor, I think of like what my parents almost did, which was like their friend, or like
Okay.
almost, but then
Yeah,
that's different.
no. There are no facilities that I know of right now that will enable known donor relationships with complete strangers, right? Like that's what you're talking about. Someone who would be anonymous but has chosen to be known from the start
Yeah.
to the parents. So there is no, because I think it raises all sorts of legal questions.
Right. So that's not what
That
people advocate for. Like that's not possible.
I mean, I advocate for that. I think if you're going to do anything, that sounds fantastic.
Uh-huh.
But
Like a
are
stranger whose name you now know.
yeah, whose name you now know, and they're open to contact. In an ideal world, I would like to see registries where, okay, you are a known donor, your information is here, and their annual, results of annual checkups are available to your offspring,
Yep.
and notes that you'd like to put in are available to your offspring. And it's not just, okay, here's your family medical history, here's a 1 or 2 page thing that I've written up, and here are answers to questions that I've lied about.
Yeah, literally.
And so, like, what has your experience been like there? I mean, you're coming from, you had a donor number, I assume, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so the catalog baby type
Yeah.
of
Ooh,
thing.
that's something too.
That's a whole other like leaves a weird taste in your mouth kind of a
Yeah.
thing. And
The taste of commodification.
yes, of like Build-A-Bear, like
Yeah.
weird, very weird. And there my parents described it as like they use California Cryobank because like the gynecologist was like, this is a reputable one. This is this is the right thing to do this. Like here is so you get like a starter pack of like, the catalog, like with the kind of Excel spreadsheet of like hair color, eye color, blood type, college major, or like whatever. That they pick like, a couple to choose from, and then you have to pay a fee to see the slightly more extensive profiles, like, and then if you pay the big money, like if you pay in today's money, it's like you pay $300 or something, but back then it wouldn't have been that much. You get the whole file, like the 10-page packet, which is like they fill out a survey about like their mom's job, their dad's
Yeah.
job, like that type of a self-reported, like self-reported
Which
drug
also
use
which also
history. Like,
also may be complete bullshit, right?
yeah, I think you could just make that up. I mean, I know
From
that
bit.
the way that that medical history stuff is questionable. I know that they do go through a lot to like test the actual samples themselves to make sure that they're not like they like it's only available 6 months after all of this procuring and
Right.
testing, which is
Right. I
good.
think I think there are legal requirements that they screen for HIV
Yep.
and other diseases.
Hmm.
And so they do that basic screening.
Yeah.
But beyond that, like, it's within the realm of possibility, because it happens that people are conceived through a sperm bank and end up with mental issues.
Hmm.
It's not unusual.
Yeah, that article that just came out, when this happens every once in a while, where like a donor story will like break into the kind of mainstream thing, and then
Mhm.
random people will send me like a donor article,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
get I get those all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, so that happened this week with that article about the kid who I think
He died.
he died
Yeah.
because that's like an example.
And the donor had psychological issues, and the kid
Hmm.
also ended up with them. It's not uncommon.
Because it
uh,
doesn't even seem to be a question on the survey that I have from like 98 of like, do you have any mental health history stuff? Like, and I'm
right.
sure they wouldn't answer that.
Right. If someone has a mental health episode at one point and they're past it, do you have any mental health issues you'd like to report? No, I don't have anything.
No. Yeah.
Good. Because look how much money I'm making doing this, right? My
Hmm.
my my beef, generally and specifically in this case, is not with the donors, it's not with recipients, it's with the way that the industry works.
Yes,
That profit is put above all else. It's put above human rights. It's put above the well-being of those conceived with by the system.
hmm
And there's no accountability.
Yeah, basically.
There's nothing. It's the and this has been true from the very beginning, and it's still true today in this country.
Hmm.
And other countries have done far more to advance the rights of the donor conceived than the United States. The US is not interested in doing it.
Yeah. And it's just not regulated. It's not managed or
Yeah. There's nothing. The group that sits atop all of the sperm banks and infertility is the American Society of Reproductive Medicine, ASRM.
hmm
And ASRM really doesn't have any legal power to do anything. So all they can do is make recommendations to all of the entities.
Private clinic stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
They can just make recommendations like we recommend you limit it to this many families. We recommend that you get a history. We recommend
Right.
that you screen. Like, okay, if you don't, what happens? Nothing happens.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
And even some of the recommendations seem questionable to me. This like limit between 25 families. And that still seems like a lot of people. Like it's not normal for like
Yeah,
a
because
not sperm
imagine,
donor to have 25 to have kids with 25 different
no,
women.
it's not. And the 25 families, it's not 25 donor conceived people, it's 25 families.
Right, which that could be 50 people.
And they can call back. And people have called back and they get the donor to come back in and give another sample.
That's what my parents did.
And then the sperm bank says, ooh, we're gonna add them back into the catalog.
That is exactly what happened. And they lie and they say to my parents and they say to the donor, like, well, it's not even what they say, it's what they didn't say. It's like they both kind of were led to believe that it was just for this one client and that would be all that it was. And then it
But
just gets
no one signed
recirculated.
anything, right? No one
Nope,
signed anything
nope.
saying that.
Yeah,
So
so then it gets recirculated back into the, and the weirdest part is that my parents had him paid to like be reactivated. He did that, and then he's gone from the catalogs for like 5 years, and then randomly in 2006 or years later reappears. And then I have a sister that was born in 2007,
yep.
and then he
Yeah, right.
disappears again, and it's like, why did that go in? Why was it there? Why did it disappear?
Do
Like,
you, do you have so you've talked to him, right?
yeah.
You do you have a relationship with him, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no. He, yeah, it's like we will kind of email or text sometimes. Like he's like texted me like, I just listened to this episode, like it was really good, that type of thing. And I've met him in person. I guess it's only 2 times. That's weird, but
And how weird is that, right? Like, oh, I've met a biological parent twice.
yeah,
And
in my life,
I understand that for some people that's normal, right? Like if you come from a family where there were
like your dad left or
violence, or
something.
yeah, dad left, or there's violence or whatever. This, I agree, this totally happens in a lot of family arrangements.
Uh-huh.
But for the most part, that doesn't happen, that you would meet your biological parent twice
Right.
in 20 years or however old you are.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It is weird. And yeah, we met. The most recent interaction between all of us was a bunch of my siblings, besides like the three that are like less involved, and then the donor. We all got together like at my house, my parents' house over Thanksgiving, and it was like pretty funny to kind of just like, that was the first time that I met my half brother, who is his like raised son. So that was
Interesting.
funny, and he's older than all of us, which is interesting. Like
Yeah.
he became like my donor donated sperm when his son was like 2 years old,
Weird.
which is really weird to me. But
That is
I,
weird. It's weird. And ours was, I guess, the more traditional arrangement where he started donating when he was a med student.
like a student, yeah,
Yeah, and he kept on going and going and going, and then 7 years later, he stopped when he entered a relationship with his now wife.
yeah.
He stopped donating,
So it was
and
the first
so
time that the wife found out about the whole thing when you kind of popped up.
yeah,
Oh wow,
so she did not know about it because he figured it was anonymous. It's never going to matter, and it's not
right.
a big deal, right? I did this to help some families out, and that's that. And then yeah, but she took it in stride. I think she said, okay,
Hmm.
all right, so let's meet these people,
Yeah, at
let's
that point, there's nothing you can do.
right. But that's to her credit, like she's been a positive influence in
Yeah,
all of
that's
this.
good.
And the opposite of the wife problem that we encounter
Hmm.
with donor conceived people, because she could have easily just said, why did you keep this from me?
Yeah.
Why do you care about these people at all? If you contact them, I'm going to be absolutely furious with you. And
Hmm.
then that could just it just spirals out
Could
of
cause a
control
lot
from
of
there.
problems, definitely.
Yeah, so this is a much better arrangement. And when I need to get a hold of them, I text her, because she responds quickly and she's available and happy to help out. So
Yeah.
great. Yeah. But none of it's normal, right? Like normalizing these kinds of arrangements should happen when we're, before we're even conceived. If you're going to be a donor, whether it's a sperm donor or egg donor, you should be informed that, okay, there are going to be people out there who want to get to know you.
And it's kind of mind-blowing to me that even if nobody told you, that you wouldn't have thought that. But I guess maybe in a long time ago, before, I have no concept of life before the internet. I think that also screws with.
Oh yeah, no.
Right. So I was born around the same time as the internet.
Right, and that's what when I met with BioDaddy, he's like, we didn't have internet, we didn't have anything, and he dabbled in computers and things. He was at the university doing work. He was a university employee doing medical informatics type of stuff when I was an undergrad student at the university. So our paths,
so weird.
We know so many professors in common, it's kind of weird. And so even though his undergraduate degree is in mechanical engineering, he's always had an interest in computers. So he does programming, he dabbles with programming. He's written software before. He's a
doctor, like a medical doctor. Yeah.
And this is totally tangential, but of our half sibling group, we have a very, very strong science background and medical background. So interesting how this works. But yeah, the internet, like my first email address was in like 1990. I want to say 1990.
Oh,
very early.
Yeah, that's early.
Very early.
I was gonna say that's 10 years before I thought what you were gonna say.
Yeah, I know, 1990. So but there was nothing, we didn't have search engines. It was a very, very different space then.
And it makes sense without social media or like the internet even being a concept. Like it's possible to just not know people. Yeah, like being anonymous was a possibility.
It was totally an option.
Yeah, that makes actually a lot more sense, because now it's just not even really possible to maintain.
Right. I mean, I think the fact that we were able to track down who he was within 24 hours and get a home address, know where he works, find a picture of him, and he's not on social media. Right. This is someone who really does not have an interest in being out there.
Right.
And yet.
Yeah. Are sperm banks and all of this getting larger over time? Are more and more people using them?
I think it's inevitable as what defines a family grows and evolves.
Yeah.
Until we have the technology to extract a cell from someone and turn it into a gamete, which we are close to. And in my opinion, we can't get there fast enough. But
yeah, that would be cool to.
Right. Because like if you can take a woman's egg cell and turn it into a sperm cell,
can you do that?
Not yet. I don't think.
I'm like, what? I did not
know. No, but it's, if you can, I think that what they're doing is they're taking, if I remember the research correctly, I think they're taking sperm cells, they're extracting the nucleus and replacing it with a nucleus from an egg cell.
So it could,
or something like that. But I think we will get there, where you can extract cells from someone and turn them into gametes. And after you have the gametes extracted, then you can combine them with someone else's. And I personally look forward to that, because I think that will be the end of this giant mess that we have today.
And the end of men. We won't need them.
Hey now. we still do some things, I think. Sorry. He's right outside the door here. I can tell he's not very good at hiding.
Does he know all about this stuff? Like, did you?
He does. Yeah, I told him very, very shortly after I learned everything. I didn't feel like it was a good idea to keep these secrets from him also. particularly because they, his grandfather, he never got to meet.
Mm-hmm.
He died
Oh,
in
right. Yes,
2005.
your father. Yeah.
So knowing the family medical history, and he's met Biodad at this point.
Mhm.
They have pictures together. We went on the weird family road trip. Yeah, so I didn't feel comfortable keeping this from my son. He's also always had an interest in biology and human reproduction, which is an animal reproduction, just reproduction in general, which is interesting. So he found it fascinating.
Yes.
And he was 8 at the time when I found this out.
Oh, wow.
Right. And some of my half siblings have not told their children, and they think it will have repercussions beyond their immediate family, and they
Mm-hmm.
really don't want to have to deal with that. The child's going to go tell someone, and that person's going to be shocked or upset or hurt or offended or whatever. And you know it's not that they're advocating for secrecy, but it's sort of like, do we really need this right now? Will
Mm-hmm.
this complicate our lives even more? And is it necessary right now?
Yeah.
And sometimes the answer is no. And it's my hope that eventually, everyone will know and learn about it, but
Yeah.
can't control other people. But it
Yeah, I'll
really,
post
like,
about this whole thing about no.
yeah, but it's
About all these episodes. Yeah, I wonder what that would be.
no, you should though. You should, because
Really.
everyone needs to hear the perspective of donor conceived people. We are the party that never gets invited to have a seat at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Any discussions about infertility, I feel like we're left out. We really need seats at the table. We need to be a presence. We need to be a thorn in the side of the ASRM, because change is just not going to happen unless we are out there.
Yeah. Because it gets talked about in this general way in like the regular sort of media from time to time when these like
Yeah.
really bad things come up and it comes
Mhm.
out, but I feel like it definitely needs
We're the interesting stories.
Yes, yes. I've always felt very like, oh, how cool, like little like not a zoo animal, that's not the right term, but
No, it is the right term.
like a circus. Like, oh cool, like
You're on display.
mm-hmm. And it's like, oh
And
wow, how cool. And then,
yeah, yeah, I feel like, and I've had other discussions with donor conceived people about this, but the way to get our stories out there and to really have more presence in the media is to have local stories written about us, not big national ones that blow up, but start at the local level. So find a local news channel, local paper, um, even if that local paper is the New York Times, and and get the word out and tell our stories. Like, talk to a reporter and say, hey, here's my story. I'd love to share it if you're interested in
yeah,
writing this up.
that's a good
Yeah.
idea. And they've done small documentaries. I'm surprised Netflix hasn't done some giant.
But they keep trying. I don't know if Netflix does, but we constantly get people asking us to post something in the We Are Donor Conceived group, talking about their story that they're coming out with, or they're doing a reality show. That's the latest one. We get a lot of them. Like, we're doing a reality show and it's about donor conceived people. Can you post in the group and see who's interested? And for the most part, we don't share those opportunities because those are exploitive in nature.
Uh-huh.
And that's not what we're interested
Right.
in
That's
doing.
it's the ooh, look, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want people staring and gawking. You are sharing your story and others' stories. You are not taking what anyone you're interviewing is saying, twisting it to fit an agenda.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're not exploiting your own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all a big family. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's
Well,
great.
thanks for talking. This was
Hey,
really fun.
totally have a good weekend. I hope
You
it's
too. Oh, it's
where
Friday.
well, yeah, it's Friday. Where are you?
Vermont.
Vermont, Bernie territory. Awesome.
Yep.
Well,
Only seen him one time.
if you see him, tell him I say hi.
Okay. I only saw him one time, and it was like at a rally in New Hampshire of all. So yeah, but people like real Burlington people are like, oh yeah, like he walks around like.
All right.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. All right. Special thanks to Jonathan for sharing his story. I'll see you all next Thursday. Bye.